Hello everybody. So, about 2 weeks ago, I made a video predicting the IndyCar Championship finishing order for 2025. And last year, I made a video predicting the F1 Championship for 2024. So this is something I want to do every year for IndyCar and for F1. Just find it fun really. Just to see what I think people will do and then how close they'll get. So this is basically scoring how well I did last season. So the way I'm going to go about doing it is I made 3 bold predictions, then I guessed the team championship and I guessed the driver championship. Every position I get wrong or one off. Every one place I get off. That makes sense, doesn't it? I'm going to put myself 1 point, and every point I get is bad. So the more points, the worse. And then we'll see what I get this year, next year, 2030, 2050, and so on. So my 3 bold predictions first. First one was Norris to win a race. Am I good or what? He obviously won 4. 1 at Miami. Don't remember the other 3. I just know it's 4 because I googled it. So my my other prediction, I said Danny Rick would get promoted to Red Bull and Checo would get demoted to V-Carb. So yeah, that didn't go according to plan, did it? Anyway, so prediction number 3 was Leclerc to get 5 or more poles. But actually, to be fair, I don't think that was that outrageous a claim because he's pretty fast. And he had 3, so I was 2 off. You got Monaco, Spa, and Baku. Monaco and Spa, like 2 that pretty handy having pole on. And then championship finishing positions. So let's go first of all with the constructors. I'll go from first to 10th. I'll do it that way around. So I guessed Red Bull to be P1. And to be fair, for like the first half of the season, I would have been absolutely on the money with that because they were like 1-2 in everything at the beginning. But they finished P3, so 2 points off. P2, I put Ferrari, and I was correct. P3, I put McLaren. Of course, they won the championship, so I was 2 off there. P4, I put Mercedes, and was correct. P5, I put Aston Martin, also correct. I think those 5 were like kind of easy to guess to an extent, or at least the Mercedes and Aston were, because Mercedes looked behind the top 3, and then Aston looked like ahead of the midfield, but behind the front back. Then I had V-Carb in P6. They did not finish P6, they finished P8. So I was 2 off there. And then I had Alpine in P7, and they were P6. So I was 1 point off with them. Although they were horrendous at the start of the year. They were like P19 and 20. And I don't think I saw that coming. So I actually kind of got lucky there that their development was really good. And obviously they had that double podium finish in Brazil. P8, I had Williams, and they were P9, so I was 1 off. P9, I had Kick Sauber, and they were P10. So those 2 I was pretty close, but the thing I underestimated was Haas. I didn't think Haas would go as well as I did. So I had them down as P10, and I ended up finishing P7. So I was 3 points off there. So I got a total of 3 out of 10 correct, and 12 points, which I feel like is not very good. What I want you guys all doing this as well and seeing what you get this season. I will be posting that video over in a day or 2. What my 2025 predictions are. I need to sit down and like have a good think about it. So, driver standings. Which way around should I go? I think I'll go from 20th downwards. So obviously I only guessed 20. And this is one thing what I got caught out on, and I might put it into consideration this upcoming season. Is that in 2024 there were 24 drivers obviously classified in the driver standings. So you got to think, obviously there was Oliver Behrman stood in for Sainz and for Magnussen, so he did 2 races. Who else stood in for a race? Obviously Colapinto got brought in. Now I think Colapinto might be back in this year, so I'm actually going to include him on my anyway. I don't want to get, that's for the next video. Who else got brought in? Liam Lawson, of course, got brought in for Danny Rick. And there's someone else who I'm obviously forgetting, aren't I? Jack Doohan did the last race in place of Esteban Ocon. So let's get into the drivers. In P20, I had K-Mag. Sorry, mate. I actually really like K-Mag. Why the hell did I put him P20? Obviously, he's ended up losing his drive, but he did come P15, so 5 points for that. I think that's it for him really in F1 now, isn't it? P19, Chinese Joe. Guan Yu Zhu Guan Yu, however you meant to say it. I had him as P19 and he was P20, so I was 1 point off. And to be fair, he had a stellar season, I thought. Like, I mean, he beat Bottas, didn't he? Fair and square. And you'd say like Bottas would on average be doing better than him, but he scored points and his teammate didn't. So, you know, that's Bottas who's a multiple race winner in Formula One. Like, he's obviously high caliber, isn't he? So to go beat him, I think you're doing well. And you need to be there, don't you? You need to be there, like, in opportunity. Put yourself with an opportunity of scoring points if then you are going to score points. P18, I had the Hulk. Yeah, I was miles off that. He went P11. He didn't. He had an amazing season in the end. So 7 off there. Then P17, I had Bottas. I just thought it was a given that he was going to beat Chinese Joe. So as I say, Guan Yu Zhou really impressed me. So Bottas, I put P17. He actually finished P22. So 5 off there. So you can see that just those first 4, I'm doing pretty poorly. Then P16. This is probably my worst guess out of the whole lot. I had P16 as Sargent. I thought he was going to start coming on strong, and I thought he'd be taking it to L1 by the end of the season. Obviously, I was proven wrong there. I feel bad for him. Well, I don't know if I feel bad for him, but I feel like he's got a lot of potential, and I think he can be really good. So, obviously, he's now not even racing, but it is what it is, I guess, isn't it? F1's pretty cutthroat. Racing in general is cutthroat. And then F1, obviously being the pinnacle of a cutthroat industry, is just an even more extreme cutthroat category. Obviously, well, so like I say, I put him as P16. He finished P23. That's 7 more points, which is not good. P15, I had Alexander Albon. Albon, clearly class, isn't he? In reality, he was P16, so I was 1 point off for that. P14, I had Pierre Gasly. He was really P10. I was 4 points off there. To be honest, I think that was a pretty good guess. Because then P13 had Ocon, the 2 teammates from last season. And he was really P14, so I was only 1 off of him. I thought Ocon would beat Gasly. And to be honest, I do think he was like a little bit quicker on quali runs in general. Actually, I don't know what the quali stat is. I'll have to go look that up. But I feel like he is still a little bit quicker on a 1-lap pace. But obviously, Gasly's more consistent over the 24 races. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, isn't it? So, there you go. Now, I had my first correct estimation of the season. And that was P12, Yuki Tsunoda-san. Yeah, P12. Fair play. P11, I had Lance Stroll. And he was actually P13, so I actually overestimated him a little bit there, didn't I? I knew the Aston wouldn't be great, but like going into last season, I was like, okay, how do I say this in a diplomatic way? I think my rating of Stroll, he had a poor season. He had a very poor season, this Stroll. I think he's better than that, to be honest. Let's just leave it at that. I put him as P13. I put him as P11. He was actually P13. I was 2 off. P10, I had Perez. Now, that was with me estimating that he would move to V-Carb and then have like a crappy second half of the season because he'd be in a worse car. He was only P8 anyway, even in the Red Bull. Now, the Red Bull, in my opinion, was the 4th best car come the end of the season, but the start was definitely the best. So yeah, he like really pooed the bed, didn't he? Really, did Checo. So yeah, he's now out of the sport as well. I wonder what he'll be doing. And if you have any predictions what Perez will be doing in the future, other than Mexican president, put it in the comments down below. So then, P9, I had George Russell. Now, Russell, I really rated him anyway. He was actually one of my heroes in karting. Like, in karting, I remember thinking he was unreal. I drove for his big brother for a little bit also. And, fun fact, I've got one of his old go-karts literally about 100 metres that way in my house. So, that's pretty cool. It's not actually in my house, it's in a container outside. But he did a great job last season. And if it wasn't for him getting disqualified at Spa, for example, and I'm sure he had like a few other moments, he'd probably be even better than P6. So to predict P9, probably quite harsh. Obviously, really, in reality, he went P6. I was 3 off there. P8, don't need to talk about this one too much. I put Danny Rick. I thought he'd be in the Red Bull. He wasn't. He got fired. In reality, he was P17. I was 9 off. Not great. P7, I had Oscar Piastri, another driver who showed me like he is seriously class. I think Piastri, to be honest, I think he's going to be better than Norris. I do. Anyway, I guess P7. It was really P4. I was 3 off. Obviously, grabbing his first win as well. Stellar season for that young man. He's younger than me. Oh, that's painful. So P6, Alonso. The GOAT for me. To be honest, I actually do think Alonso is probably top 3 of all time. I think he's class. In reality, it was P9. The kit obviously wasn't there. I was 3 off there. P5, I guess correctly. Carlito Sainz. So Carlos P5. Yeah, I kind of thought he'd have a few wins and stuff, which he did. At one point, I think he was like P3. Wasn't he behind the 2 Red Bulls? He had a stellar start to the season despite his appendicitis. However you say that. P4, I put Norris. Clearly underrated him. He ended up fighting for the title. And not only did I underrate him, but I think I underrated McLaren. I think I didn't realise McLaren would put together such a good piece of kit, which in the end, they definitely have the best car. So Norris P4, and in reality, he came P2. So I was 2 off there. Then in P3, I had Sir Lewis Hamilton. In reality, he was P7. So 4 points off. Then in P2, I put Charles Leclerc. He was P3, so I was pretty close. Only 1 off there. And the eventual champion, I guessed correctly, Max Verstappen. I mean, that guy, oh my God, he's incredible. So, to conclude, I had 3 out of 20 correct for the drivers. A total of 60 points. 60. So that, the grand total of 72 points, if you include constructors and drivers. It's all in here, in my little notebook. Yeah, so let me know how you guys did for last year. And I'm going to do it again this year. So everyone, I want you all writing down your predictions. And then we'll see who gets the least points. The most correct, the least points. And there might be a prize for you if you win out of everyone. Yeah, go on, I'll do a prize, yeah. I won't tell you what it is yet, but I'll do a prize. So, put it all in your comments below. In my comments, not in your comments. Put your comments in my comments below. And we'll see how you got on. So, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and press the bell so you get the notifications. And follow me on Instagram if you haven't yet, even though you're probably coming from Instagram. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.